Hey man, oh my god, I haven't seen you in forever. Dude, you got such great results. From puberty, I mean, you got such great results from puberty. What do I mean by that? I mean, you're like super handsome. Why didn't I just say you're super handsome? I saw this guy on Twitter and he also went through male puberty and he looks super ugly. So I'm just really glad it worked out for you. So how often do you work out? Oh, you don't work out? Then you're not really making the most of it, are you? Like, some people would kill to have testosterone in their bodies. So you're not gonna, like, get jacked? Oh, you're losing your hair? Well, that's just sort of part of it. Like, what did you expect? Like, you can't really be upset about that. Like, it just happens. So how low is your voice now? Baritone? Well, it's gonna get even lower, right? So, like, maybe you should dial back a little bit. Because, like, bass singers don't get many parts, and I know you're a vocalist, and you do musical theater, so you might want to think about puberty blockers, because if your voice gets too low, you won't get cast anymore. I would never be a man. Like, I would never do that, just so you know. Like, the acne, the sweating, like, that's disgusting. I would never do that. Just wanted to inform you, I would never do that to myself. Hey, by the way, I loved that thing you said the other day. That was so sensitive and kind. It's almost like you're not like every other man in the world. Like, you're different. Like, you said something nice, and no other man in this entire planet would have ever said something like that. It's like you're just different than all the other ones in some weird way that I can't put my finger on. Oh, by the way, I have this friend you would love. You guys have so much in common. He actually is also a man. So, you guys just have tons in common. Your name is awesome, by the way. Aren't you gonna tell me that you picked it out? I want to hear why you picked it out. Because clearly you chose it, right? I want to hear about why you chose it. So I'm just gonna keep complimenting your name until you tell me. Anyway, yeah, great talk. It was so good to see you. Hope puberty treats you well.
One thing they do not tell you about transitioning is that you're gonna have to figure out what to do with your hair. You're gonna have to figure out your hair completely, especially if you've never had long hair before, and then you're gonna have long hair, and you have curly or wavy hair. You're gonna have to figure it out. It's stressful. It took me 3 years to finally figure out what to do with this, and sometimes I still have issues, especially with the weather. And all it took was a new conditioner and a new curling cream, and that's it. Yes, this is my natural texture, and I get asked if I have a wig all the time. I've even had a lady try to pull my hair one time and see if it was a wig.
日本ではトランスジェンダーについてどう思われてると思いますか？
日本のトランスジェンダーはやっぱ歌舞伎町タワーとかもこう立ってから連日トイレのところで話題になってたじゃないですか。
何がですか？
歌舞伎町タワーのさ、男女兼用トイレみたいな感じのところが多分トランスジェンダーの意識して作られてたんですけど、あれに対して批判が多かったので、まだ受け入れの体制ってそんな強くないんだろうなと思います。
外国人の LGBT の友達がいるとして友達になってくれますか？
全然なるでしょ。全然なんか対象として見られてしまったらば僕は答えられませんよっていうふうには伝えるんですけど、でもその LGBT の方たちって無理やり強いるとか全然なくて、あなたもそうなのっていうのをちゃんと確認してから来てくださるんで、友達っていう意味だったらむしろ話は面白いし、いろんな経験を持ってるし感性が違うから、そういう話はすごい好きなので、もちろん友達になりたいです。
ありがとうございます。トランスジェンダーについてどう思いますか？
そうですね、私の友達にもトランスジェンダーの人いるんですけど、すごい仲良くしてたりするんで、特にそんな日本で何かトランスジェンダーとか LGBT に関してとやかく言う人はいないと思うんですけど、私も実は世界一周してる時にサンパウロで LGBT の世界最大のイベントみたいなのがたまたまあって、そこにちょっと参加させてもらったりしたんですけれども、やっぱこういう動きが日本で起きるとね、 みんなが生きやすい世の中になるんじゃないかなと思いますね。
ちなみに人口の5% が LGBT の人だって言われてると思うんですけど、何%ぐらいの人が自分の周りで LGBT だと思いますか？
いやでも結構日本だと隠してる人が多いと思いますね。そういう意味で言うと友達のね 5% って言ったら結構な数になると思うんですけど、私は別にそんな何十人も知ってるわけではないので、まあなかなか表には出せない社会なのかなと思いますね、日本だと。
ありがとうございます。
I get a lot of messages on here from people who are like earlier in their transition, and they basically ask me like, when is this unforgiving fucking hellscape gonna be over? Because transitioning like early on, like it's hell. Like you're uncomfortable all the time. You can't look the way that you want to look. You're always like, I wish I could have just been born the right fucking gender because my life is like literally a fucking hellscape, and you feel like it's never gonna fucking end. And that was me honestly, like basically for like my whole life up until like basically this point. It's crazy. Like I'm finally past the point in my life where I was like, I wish I was born male. Like I really fucking don't. Like it would have made my life easier, but I feel like I'm at the point in my life where I feel like being trans is such a crazy gift and like blessing from the universe. I feel like I was meant to be trans and experience life as a transgender person. Once you get over it being a fucking hellscape, you realize that you've been given and like born with this unique perspective that the overwhelming majority of people will never experience. I feel like growing up trans have made me into the person I am, and also gave me experiences like I wouldn't have had if I was just born male. Being trans made me more creative. Like I can write a song about being transgender. What if I was cis? I like trucks and I like monster trucks too. No. Like if you're trans and you're like, my life fucking sucks. You are such a tiny little percent of the population. Like what a beautiful gift for 1 in a fucking million. That shit is so fucking rare. It's cool.
For all my girlies who are starting to transition and are worried that they're not gonna be able to grow their hair, or that, you know, like, oh, I'm bald, it's never gonna come back in properly, whatever, let me help you and let me show you what I used to look like, because this is how my hair used to look. There was none. And this is like what it looked like before I started shaving it off. Literally like couldn't grow hair at all. It was awful. So this is what I do currently and what I've done my entire like transition to get my hair where it's at right now. First and foremost is get good shampoo and conditioner. Stop using your cheap like generic dollar store stuff or whatever you're using, Suave. Don't use those. They have sulfates, they have like bad things in them for you. They're not good for your hair. You want to get like at least like a small upgrade. I know shampoo and conditioner can be expensive, but if you can at least get like a small upgrade, that'd be a huge improvement. Currently I'm using Maui. It's not the best shampoo ever, but it's definitely an upgrade from what I was using. And for conditioner, I'm using Monday, which again, not the best in the world, but it's better than a lot of those other ones. And now that I have a good job, I plan on upgrading to an even better shampoo and conditioner, something more organic and uses like less chemicals and all that. And you can use this app that I use called Yucca, and you can just scan things and it'll tell you like how good things are for like your health and whatnot, and like what harmful chemicals are in it. So I did that for like my first year of my transition and it worked pretty well. But from there, I started using rosemary oil. And you don't just use rosemary oil on your hair, let me tell you. You mix like probably 4 or 5 drops in with like, I don't know, about that much like olive oil or like grapeseed oil or some type of like organic, like nice oil in like a little shot glass. So I'll show you. So I have this little shot glass and I have about 4 or 5 drops of rosemary oil in there with some grapeseed oil. And I just run this through my hair. It's really good for your hair, helps strengthen it, and it keeps it from breaking. So I did that for the longest time, and then about 4 months ago, the biggest thing that's made a huge difference for me is I started using Rogaine, which sounds crazy, but like men's Rogaine works perfect, and it helped fill in a lot of this area. So my hairline probably used to go all the way back here, and it doesn't no more. And it's like really nice on the other side too. And like I got all these little tiny baby hairs that are growing in. I got tons of hairs that are like this long, so my hair looks like really thick. And if you go look at my like previous videos, you'll see how much better my hair is now. And you'll probably have the same concern that I did. Like if I stop using Rogaine, am I going to lose my hair? No. If you're trans, at least, I can't speak for men, but if you're trans and you're on hormone replacement therapy and your E levels are good, you will not lose that hair progress because you have E going through your body instead of testosterone. And testosterone is like what makes your hair disappear. So it'll only stay and get better. I talked to my doctor about this, so I promise you, I've quit using it for about like a week or 2 now, and I have not had any hair loss whatsoever. And for the last thing I'm doing now that's really going to help my hair even further is I have Dr. Powers. If you don't know who he is, he's like the leading trans specialist in America. And he has his own like special compound that they prescribed me that I'm waiting to come in the mail. And
They told me that it is so strong and so good that the one girl was using too much of it and it was like dripping down her forehead and she started growing hair in the middle of her forehead. So I'm really excited about that to see how that works, and I will definitely give you updates on that. And if I can find a way to like get you guys so you can have it, I will definitely let you know. But yeah, hope that update's really nice, and I hope this helps all you girls who really want to grow nice, luscious, long, thick hair, because this is the thickest and healthiest my hair has ever been. Even back in high school, my hair was never this nice. So hopefully these steps help you, and yeah, good luck on your journey. Love you guys. Bye.
TERFs be like, trans women are harmful because they're fulfilling stereotypes about women. And then trans women don't dress feminine, and TERFs are like, actually, you're faking it. What do you want them to do?
Gender isn't either. Gender is different from sex.
How are you separating sex and gender? Like, how are you doing this? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Sex and gender are the same thing. It's objective reality. This apple, or Malus domestica, exists. It's made up of objective parts that exist independently of our conscious awareness of them. You've got the sepals, the vascular bundle, the pedicel, but how we experience the apple isn't objective, it's subjective depending on our unique perspective. Taste, color, texture don't exist as properties of external reality. They only exist in our brains as subjective perceptions, but that doesn't make them any less real. When I bite into this apple, I might experience sweetness and joy. You might experience tartness and displeasure, but both experiences are equally true, even if the objective reality of the apple doesn't change. We have no access to objective reality except through our senses, and we have to reduce a huge amount of information into what we consider relevant. So how can we ever be sure that what we're perceiving is accurate? We can't. What you see is what you find useful in reality, not reality itself. Sex, female, exists, is objective. Typically, females have this certain set of chromosomes, certain hormones, certain body parts. That's all biological, but the way we experience that biology is subjective. That subjective perception of our sex is what we call gender. Transphobes would have us define apples as Malus domestica, but you don't experience the apple as the vascular bundle releases sorbitol on your tongue. You're having a subjective experience. When we encounter each other, we're not interacting with the biological element. You're not a set of chromosomes that I'm talking to. We're interacting with each other socially. I did boys jazz growing up. You're telling me that only people with XY chromosomes can make right angles to Gorillaz songs? No. We interact with the social element of gender, which carries a lot of baggage, just like the apple does. What do apples make you think of? Maybe the best movie of all time, maybe the phone that you're watching this on, maybe the apple of my eye, the apples of your cheeks, original sin, religion. All of these biological, social, cultural perceptions inform our understanding of the reality of an apple. All of these perspectives combined will get us closer to the truth. This, and pun intended, is called transperspectivism. Terms like woman and man are transperspectivism in action. It's related to biological functions, like typically it's women who can get pregnant, but not exclusively. Each woman and apple is different from each other, but we still understand that they belong to their respective categories. In my research, I found out there was like over 7,000 varieties of apple, which is like too much, calm down. And they're all different. Apples can be red, green, yellow, sweet, sour, and they've all got different names: Granny Smith, Pink Lady, Gala. This one's from the Wonky Apples pack in Aldi. But they're all still apples, like some women are tall, short, cis, or trans. This whole trans conversation is like if people got in a hubbub over whether pink ladies were apples or not. Pink ladies have too much sugar and acid, and they bloom too early. Pink lady apples aren't apples. We can't change language to accommodate every apple that thinks it's an apple, which is funny because we've literally already done that. The Old English word for apple used to mean just any fruit. Any fruit. I mean, the French still call potatoes pommes de terre, which is apples of the earth. We change language to match our collective understanding of reality through transperspectivism. And the same should be true of gender. The reason people are in such an uproar over gender is because gender, unlike apples, informs how we systemize power, access to resources, and privilege while attempting to justify itself. And some people, cis men, would rather that system wasn't challenged when it really deserves to be. Separating sex and gender is actually a lot less complicated than people think. They're related, but they're still separable. Sex is what, gender is who. Anyway, trans women are women, trans men are men, and non-binary people are hot. So that's it.
It's not an invite to send hate to that creator, but I want to say this speaks volumes to the amount of privilege you enjoy. For those of you who don't know, I'm a detrans person, which means that while I did transition to another gender, I have since detransitioned, presenting closer to my assigned at birth gender. In my case, I took testosterone for nearly a full decade. I had multiple surgeries and legally transitioned as well. For the majority of my life, I presented as male. The result of this is that when I detransitioned, a lot of people assumed that I was transitioning for the first time in my life. There were people around me who incorrectly assumed that I was a trans woman. While everyone in my life who knows me, who's had a conversation with me, knows that I'm detrans, strangers are very quick to assume that I'm a trans woman. And that comes with a massive amount of social stigma. Spreading a rumor that you are trans because you're not getting he/him'd enough is an insult to trans women who have to live with trans misogyny and violence every day. The fact that you can comfortably start such a rumor without fear for your safety speaks so much to how much privilege you have. And that's not even addressing the use of the T-slur. I've had that T-slur thrown at me multiple times prior to my detransition, and now in my detransition state, I also get it. That doesn't give me the right to use that word because it is a word that is used in violence against trans women. While my social reality very closely resembles that of trans women, I will never know the actual feelings of what it's like to be a trans woman. But I certainly know what it's like to be fucking scared when I give my ID to someone and I wonder, are they going to give me a problem for having an M on my ID? I know what it's like to experience a jolt of fear when that guy at the club whispers in my ear like, hey, your voice is kind of deep. Are you? Because I have been scared that someone's going to break my jaw over this. And the fact that you just started a rumor for funsies because, hey, you weren't getting he/him'd enough, it makes you sound fucking tone deaf. Do better.
Hey, Coach, I'm so sorry I'm late.
You must be team masseuse. Why don't you set up and...
No. I'm not the team masseuse. I'm one of the players.
Oh, no. I don't know where the women's team train, but it isn't here.
No. Chaya's placed in the team. This team.
She's a woman.
Well, not yet.
What the hell's going on? Ace?
That's Chaya. She's our center forward. Chaya.
Okay. Good one. Humor. I get it. Sure, Jaya. Go ahead. Join the squad over there.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Joke's on you now. She's playing.
And there's Chaya, the Cindy Crawford of soccer.
What's his real name?
Chaya.
No, registered name.
Oh, it's Johnny, but you never want to call her that. You know, she's Fafafine.
What does that mean?
It's part of our culture. It's just one of us, but different.
You guys are all cool with this?
How can I put this? It's like, imagine a world without flowers. Well, Fafafine are our flowers.